Hi, I am here to talk to you about a genetic test called Genome-Wide Sequencing. This test was designed to help people like you who have a rare genetic condition but no genetic diagnosis. This short video will explain the science behind the test, what types of results might be identified, and what is involved for you and your family members. After viewing this video, feel free to discuss any questions you may have with your clinical team. If you are uncomfortable or do not want to proceed with testing, you can say no at any time. Your body is made up of cells, and each cell contains a copy of your genetic information, called DNA. Inside your DNA, there are many specific regions that are called genes, 22,000 to be exact. These genes act like your body's instruction manual. We inherit one copy of most of our genes from our mother, and one copy from our father. Everyone has changes in their DNA, and that's what makes a person unique and allows them to pass on traits like skin color or hair color from one generation in a family to the next. Some changes, however, called mutations, can cause our bodies to not work properly and can lead to medical problems. Imagine that your DNA is a book written using 22,000 words. As you are reading the book, you notice a typo, but the word still makes sense and you are able to continue on with the same understanding of the story. This typo would represent the changes we see in everyone's DNA. It's what makes them unique. Now imagine that you come across a typo that completely changes the meaning of the word, and therefore affects the whole story. This change would represent a genetic mutation that can lead to medical problems. Older genetic tests could only examine one gene at a time, but new technology allows scientists to look at all of our genes together, helping people understand the cause of their condition more quickly. With genome-wide sequencing, doctors will be able to sequence or read your DNA to see if there are any changes or mutations in your genes. Genome-wide sequencing is able to provide a genetic diagnosis to a percentage of patients with rare genetic conditions. This is a substantial increase over the diagnostic rate when using traditional technologies alone. While this technology has greatly reduced the time to a genetic diagnosis for many patients, it is not perfect and may not detect the genetic changes in all genes associated with disease. In addition, genome-wide sequencing can't see all genetic changes that may lead to a genetic condition, which is why your doctor may order more than one type of test. So what does genome-wide sequencing involve? If you agree to have a test, a small amount of blood will be taken from your arm, and the blood will be sent to a laboratory to collect your DNA. To better understand your test results, we will need information about your medical and family history. In certain cases, your doctor may also ask that other members of your family give blood samples to compare your results with those of your family members. This comparison will help us better understand what genetic changes you share with family and what genetic changes are unique to you. What kind of results can come out of a genetic sequencing test? Genome-wide sequencing of your DNA will generate a vast amount of information. We will use different strategies to study the data and try to identify rare changes in your DNA that might be linked to your equally rare condition. Such changes are known as primary findings of your genome-wide sequencing. Possible results from this test include positive, uncertain, or negative results. A positive result means that a mutation was found in your DNA that may explain all or part of your medical condition. A result of uncertain significance means a change in a gene was found, but it is not clear if this is the cause of your medical concerns. Whereas a negative result means that the test did not find any genetic changes that would explain your symptoms. Could there be any unexpected results? As already mentioned, when looking at your sequencing results, the laboratory will limit their analysis to genes with rare changes in the hopes of identifying the change responsible for your rare condition. However, because the test looks at a wide range of genes, it is possible to find that you have a mutation that could cause an entirely different condition or disease that is unrelated to why you came to see your genetics doctor. This could include a predisposition for a certain type of cancer or heart condition, and is what we refer to as an incidental finding. The chance of an incidental finding is actually quite low. Also, keep in mind that the absence of incidental findings does not rule out that you have an increased risk for any of these types of diseases. Your doctor will discuss with you any result that might affect your health in the future or the health of your blood relatives. If you are an adult, you can choose whether or not you would like any incidental findings reported to you. If you are a child, any incidental findings that would directly impact your care during childhood must be reported to your parents. What will happen to your test data after your results have been returned to you? All of your test results will always be kept confidential, and any data generated by the test will be appropriately protected. If the test reveals a mutation that is linked to your rare condition, this coded information is stored in a database that helps other doctors around the world understand the significance of changes in this gene. If your test does not reveal a gene mutation responsible for your condition, your clinical team may contribute your coded information to a database so that doctors can match your genetic information and clinical features to others around the world to better understand both your symptoms and their possible genetic causes. The results of this test, as well as any incidental findings that your doctor has reported to you, will become part of your medical record. Because your test results are placed in your medical records, authorized persons, such as insurance companies and employers, may have access to your records if required by law or if you sign a release of information. However, because of a new Genetic Non-Discrimination Act in Canada, insurance companies and employers can ask to access your medical records, but cannot require that you disclose the results of any genetic test, nor can they use this information against you. The field of genetics, genetic technologies, and associated data analysis is changing rapidly, and new diseases are being associated with genes every day. This means that even if you do not receive a diagnosis from the first analysis of your genome-wide sequencing, it does not necessarily mean that an answer will not be found, and reanalysis is available every year at the request of your clinical team. As with any genetic test, the information you learn from the genome-wide sequencing may have significant medical or reproductive implications for you as well as your family members. Your clinical team can discuss with you any questions or reservations you may have about the test. Now that genome-wide sequencing has been explained to you, you can discuss your questions and concerns with your clinical team and decide whether you want to proceed with testing.